So what do I mean by a penalty box? Rules are important. I get them. I understand we have to have rules so that we can have some lack of chaos, have a little bit more controlled environment. The bigger we get, the more powerful we become. As a country, we have more rules and regulations that we tend to follow. As a business, as the Financial Enhancement Group has grown to having, Donnie and I and a few staff people to now 37 people, we have to have some rules so our team knows what it is they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to show up, those kind of things. I get all of that, but there are rules and then there are guidelines. And what I hate seeing as a financial guy is when people are trapped in their financial planning by other people's penalty box, by other people's numbers. So let's just go to the end. Remember, I will always talk about your financial journey on this show. I think if you draw it out, it will help you understand this and get there. So I always draw a car on a road going from the left, moving toward the right in an upward direction. I presume that you want to have a more prosperous, and that doesn't just mean wealthy, doesn't just mean having more money or more assets, but I assume you want a better future. That's why it goes up from left to right. I think most of us that are listening to this show are aware, whether we're consciously aware or not, that there's a lot of different ways to get to Indianapolis or to Boston or to California or to Florida. Planes, trains, automobiles, great show, or so they tell me. Haven't got to watch it all yet, another story. But there's a lot of different ways to get there, and you get to choose that way. I've seen people become very wealthy with buying real estate. I've seen them become wealthy in the stock market. I've seen them wealthy in running businesses. Most people don't do it from a mixture. They tend to be more concentrated in one area. As a result, they take more risk, and you never hear about the people who didn't make it. Hence the problem with survivorship bias, if you will. Regardless, here we are, and we get these rules that come into play that we have to deal with, without understanding where that journey really is trying to take us. Where is it you're trying to go? So let's just take your life after work. That's one of the segments of the 5 critical elements, right? Just one of them. But you take that one and you look at it and you go, okay, my success at your life after work means that I have to replace my standard of living, or the standard of living to which I've become accustomed. It's not about replacing a certain percentage of my income. It's not about replacing or having a certain amount of money, because remember, your life after work really is about exchanging assets for income. Right? So you have to think in an entirely different metric, but it really is managing and replacing that standard of living. And when people tell me, well, Joe, I only need 70%, it's kind of like, which 30% of life are you prepared to give up? Right? You've heard these things that come from the academic world that talk about what the average American needs when they retire. Here's a news flash for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening to this show, I'll bet you dimes to donuts. I really will. You're not average.